To defeat an enemy, you must know them. Not simply their battle tactics, but their history, philosophy, art.
Look how old you've become.
I am the Senate. This is but a taste of the dark side. Like you said, only the strongest shall rule.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground!
Killed for it.
I turned on the Republic.
But I have found redemption.
No, I'm not going to take the fall for something I didn't do.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
This is the Star Wars Renegades Podcast. Welcome to the Renegade Squadron. Hey everybody, how's it going? This is episode number 9 of the Star Wars Renegades Podcast. We are broadcasting live for, I believe, the first time from our YouTube channel. So all of a sudden, all of our Halloween and horror followers are like, what the hell is this shit? We're going to talk Star Wars for the next 45 minutes or so, and more specifically, we're going to talk Knights of the Old Republic. Let's go around this 5-man roundtable, if you will. Tommy B, what's happening, man?
Hey, another exciting night. I am beyond thrilled to talk Star Wars and beyond thrilled to be talking about our topic for tonight. So it's another good night on my end, buddy. How about you?
Dude, whenever we can sit down and talk Knights of the Old Republic, I'm game. I think, and I know I'm going to get criticized for this a bit, but in my opinion, next to The Empire Strikes Back, it is the second best Star Wars story ever told, period. Again, subjective, but yeah. Johnny, man, what's happening, dude?
Man, I'm just excited to be here tonight, talking the wars and stars, and it's going to be a real fun night. I'm looking forward to everything we got on tap this evening. And
you're obviously here to share your love of the prequels, and you've come to your senses and think the prequels are decent films, and we're good there, right? All right, I'll let his silence speak for itself. Joining us for the first time ever, and I think we're going to be doing a lot more with these guys coming up, it is Thaden and Kieran from the Rogue Sons, a Star Wars podcast, a fairly new Star Wars podcast. If you aren't listening to these guys and you love Star Wars, listen to these guys, because on the car ride to get Zachary out in Kitchener, I caught up with 2 of your episodes, and that was good. It seems like you guys are really loving what you're doing. Thaden, how's it going, man?
Super good. I'm very much excited to talk about Knights of the Old Republic. I've been getting all into that era again lately. And yeah, I'm always happy to talk about Star Wars as much as I can.
Kieran, man, how about you?
Oh man, I'm actually having a blast playing it right now. Yeah, it's awesome, and I played it probably through 3 times.
I don't know how many times I've played through the first game. It's definitely more than 3, but I'm ashamed to admit I actually haven't played through it from start to finish, and I don't know if I've played through it start to finish since my oldest son was born. That's 12 years. Like, think about this, guys. Knights of the Old Republic has been out 17 years this year. That's nuts. If that doesn't make you feel old, I don't know what will.
Time for a remake. We're still waiting. I'm waiting.
Yeah, you and
that's going to happen.
So
eventually, be hopeful.
There was a remake in the works, fan-made remake. It was all fan-funded, and they got quite far into it. And of course, Lucasfilm and company stepped up and shut that shit down. So It led to rumors and speculation that they might do something with Knights of the Old Republic. You see all this Revan merchandise coming out. Just recently this Pop came out, which I believe, Johnny, this is a EB exclusive, right? I think you said it was EB exclusive?
EB GameStop, yeah.
So, no, they're still doing stuff in Knights of the Old Republic. And the last that we heard is there may be a retelling of the game in the works, but I think if you're hoping you're going to get the same game again, that's probably not going to happen, as it'll need to fit in with current canon. So anyways, guys, what this episode's about is I'm going to hand the reins off to these four because I love just being able to listen to a great Star Wars conversation. And we're going to be doing more recapping, I guess, revisiting of Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2 in the coming weeks with these awesome guys. But today I want to just spend some time talking about what your first experience was like with the game. Again, mine was 17 years ago, so it was a long time ago. But Kieran, maybe kick things off, man. What was your first experience with the game? What do you remember about playing it through for the first time?
The first thing that I remembered actually was the annoying Carth Onassi, but for some reason, the first thing that comes through is that character and how much I did not like that character. But to go with like an overall, I played the game. I think the first time I played it was already the second one had come out, and I played them both together. Well, I played them in the right order, and I remember like just absolutely being amazed because I learned visually so much better. If I read the books, which I do read the books, but when I play the games, like I actually can remember all the names and the characters, and like just being able to see all the different alien species and being able to like kind of put them all together, what they look like and things like that was awesome, and how they speak, and like I don't know, visually I think it really helped me like expand how much I love Star Wars.
I just remember being blown away. I remember, so I got the Xbox that came with Knights of the Old Republic, and I think it came with some, I want to say it was Mecha Assault or something. I legit never played the other game, and we had a family function to go to. It's Christmas morning, and I was pretty upset when I had to leave Knights of the Old Republic after playing it for 3 or 4 hours. Thaden, how about you, man? What was your first experience like with this game? What do you remember of it?
The first thing that comes to mind, I played it with Kieran. We were making an evil character, and
these are my
he's
kind
not
of
a very
guys.
bad guy. So there's that mission where you have to help a Twi'lek dance, or she's gonna get killed or something. And I was begging him not to do it because he was playing at the time, and he is basically like brought him to tears, thinking about letting her get fired. That's the first memory I think of, but in general, my whole experience was like just being pretty wowed by the whole game. It was so cool to be able to go to all these planets and explore and learn these like new parts of their history. And I don't know, it's something that I really love in a lot of games. And if you put that in Star Wars, it's like my favorite thing ever. It's one of my favorite games for sure.
I've been longing for that experience since those games came out. I mean, I feel like we kind of got to go back to it with Star Wars The Old Republic, but I find Star Wars The Old Republic gets repetitive really easily, where I think Knights of the Old Republic, I mean, obviously, if you play it enough times, it's going to get repetitive, but I'm talking just your first playthrough. If you're playing through Knights of the Old Republic or Star Wars The Old Republic, I feel like there's more story elements with Knights of the Old Republic than there is Star Wars The Old Republic. Tommy, how about you, man? What was your first experience with Knights of the Old Republic? I'm not sure I know this story. I've known you half a decade plus, and I don't think we've ever talked about this.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever talked about this before. Honestly, I'd be lying if I said I remember all that much. So I did not play Knights of the Old Republic, the OG game, first.
Oh.
I played through Sith Lords first. It's just what they had at the video rental store. I picked it up. I played through it. Hung on to it for 2 weeks. And then I think I went back a couple weeks later and they had this, Kotor, the original game. So then I played through that. I gotta tell you, sometimes I wish I played through that first, but I really think because of that experience, the two games, while they do connect with each other in a number of different ways, really play independently. But hey, that's a topic we can totally revisit a whole nother time. The game, like you've said, it definitely has held up over the years. I don't know if I want to say it's my favorite, because that's just such a big statement to make, because there are so many Star Wars games I love. And then there are ones like, I had to look this title up, The Masters of, what is it, Terrace Kasi?
Oh,
that
man.
fighting game that looked absolutely awful.
I remember renting that from Blockbuster back in the day. Like,
why?
Like,
Why
so
would you pay money for that?
I'm a kid, right? So I'm stoked. I'm getting to get ready and play this Star Wars game, and it's got Luke Skywalker post Return of the Jedi on the cover. I'm like, oh well, yeah, hell yeah. And at that time, I'm not really I hadn't read the Thrawn novels or anything post Jedi at that time, and so for me, I'm stoked. And boy, was I disappointed when I played that game.
So let me ask you this: since we're talking about bad Star Wars games, real briefly, what did you think of Demolition? Because I also didn't like that.
I mean, Demolition was basically, correct me if I'm wrong, Star Wars Twisted Metal, right? I mean, I feel like it was similar to that. You know,
sounds right.
Like a Crash Derby game, basically. Yeah, it was okay.
Mm-hmm.
I like what you said.
I know Satan has both.
I do.
In his room right now.
What was on the cover of Demolition? Wasn't it the Imperial Walker and like a droid riding? Oh man, the little flying. I don't know the thing.
There's an ATST, but I don't remember.
Man,
the thing from episode 1. Are you referring to?
Wow. Yes, that's exactly what I'm referring to.
Is that a stap? Is it a stap? I think
it might be.
I think that's the name of it. It's the droid riding the stand-up speeder, basically, and Boba Fett. Boba Fett is also on the cover.
So I like that you pointed out they're very different games when it comes to Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, because when I think about 2, yeah, it was rushed way too quick. They should have taken another year, given it a proper ending. We know we only got like 75% of that game. I know there's mods out now that finish the game on PC. But
and they do a damn good job at finishing it.
You know
they
what
really
I
do.
love about Knights of the Old Republic 2?
You'll find official launchers that link to those mods.
I think that's how I'm going to have to play it through this time, because I'd like the opportunity to have something new. I'm not a big PC gamer guy, but the thing that strikes me the most about Knights of the Old Republic 2, I know there's a discussion about the first game, though, is it feels almost like an old school horror movie really early on in that game. You're on the abandoned, I believe it's Paragus mining facility at the beginning of Knights of the Old Republic 2, and it just has this really creepy vibe, and you're going around the facility watching these videos of what are now all dead people, and it's almost like you're a detective at that time, and I never, ever once experienced that in the Star Wars universe. So I know people get on that game, but I think the second game has a lot to offer too. Johnny. Sorry, repeat that?
It's got some great characters.
Absolutely. Characters that I would argue maybe have more depth to them than some of the characters we get in the first game.
We were just talking the other day, me and Thaden, about how scary Darth Sion is.
Yeah, he's a scary dude.
He was scary with the the technology they had then. Imagine how scary you could be with the technology we have now, like the meta game.
Heavily underrated, in my opinion. Johnny, what was your first experience with Knights of the Old Republic? I remember, constantly talking your ear off about it for a couple of days, but I can't remember how quickly you turned around and got it.
Well, I didn't get it until I got my console, so that was probably a good 8 months later, I think, 9 months later. It was almost a year, because I got the Crystal console that came out the following spring, and the game came out in summer. So, there was a good almost a year in between release to when I actually got to play it. So, I mean, I had broad strokes, and listening to you talk it up wasn't that surprising to me. But you'd talked up the prequels, so I was, your tastes were suspect.
Couldn't resist.
No, I was excited to get to play it because that was the time when I was really getting into the RPGs and RPG games as a whole. And I was even back then playing D&D a bit, and it was something that I was excited about. Getting a Star Wars experience with that sort of role playing element to it. I was excited, and I actually got to play it. It was one of the first games I bought for the console, I believe. I knew it was early. I might have rented it before I bought it just to confirm that it was actually good. Because I seem to recall you talking up the Phantom Menace game that I hated.
Really? I love the Phantom Menace game.
I hated it. At least in part because I hated the Phantom Menace. But, I didn't enjoy it. So, I think I rented it and then bought it, shortly thereafter. But I remember enjoying it. It was fun. It's immersive. That's the best word to describe, is that it's immersive. There are a lot of things in the Star Wars universe that feel meh as far as the story goes and the universe goes. But this felt appropriately grandiose. It felt like it fit in the universe. There was backstory on backstory on backstory, and it fit in the universe that I enjoyed. I loved the big universe building stuff that this game had, and it's unfortunate that there is so little material from this era. We have the 3 games, 5 books?
I think there's more than 5
comics.
But the point is there's a lot.
Well,
more
I'm not
that
referring to this era. I'm not including the Darth Bane trilogy because that's far enough in the future that it's kind of in between. But just this sort of era. I think there's only a handful of material. There's the one Revan book, and then there's 3 or 4
tie-ins. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's not a lot of material, and then there's some comics as well. So, it's for such a big time period, for such a big feeling, universe, there's not a lot of extrapolation on the universe in that time period, which is unfortunate. It's a big gripe that I have to this day, that there was so much potential in this time period that got so little payoff, and then Disney came in and said, yeah, no, sorry, that's garbage, it doesn't count anymore.
There's different takes on that. I will to this day never understand that. I get that the second game was rushed and it was criticized because you basically got 75% of a game. But how, between the time that Disney purchases Lucasfilm and when LucasArts is still in business, so basically from 2004 through 2011, do we not get Knights of the Old Republic 3? How the hell did that not happen? I can't believe. I remember Rogue, who does a lot of our news headlines here. It was like a nightly discussion for us for 2 years. So when do you think Knights of the Old Republic 3 news is going to drop? And we know they started production on it. Nothing ever came of it. And much like the Battlefront 3 game, I think Lucasfilm or LucasArts got themselves into a hole they could never dig themselves out of, and eventually it was the end for them. So obviously in the weeks to come, we're going to take a deep dive into, I would suggest, each planet and each character, and talk about the different ways that different decisions that we make. You, Thaden and Kieran were talking earlier about making the pole dancer learn how to dance. That's on Terrace, right?
Yeah.
That's a Terrace one?
I did it again, too.
And
I couldn't stop myself.
Even when you, I don't want to dive too much into the planet because that's for future episodes, but, it's not a big part of the planet, but, even Davik Kang, how much he you hear about him before you meet him from various people in various parts of Terrace. It's like just the world building in Knights of the Old Republic is so top notch, and obviously Davik meets a demise pretty quickly, but that's how we're introduced to Calo Nord, is through the events of the guy that can count to 3 better than anybody was what we used to call him on Star Wars Wastelands. If he got to 3, you were done. But
that was awesome.
Yeah, I remember that guy.
Yeah, I chanced that one too many times, and he would kill me. So, the one thing I think we can talk about here before we get to our Death Watch for this evening, where we're going to put the 2 hosts of Rogue Sons of Star Wars podcast up against one another. And this will be fun because I don't actually know the questions. It's been Tommy and Johnny that have put the questions together, and I get to sit back as a spectator. Can't wait for that. But before we do, it's fairly common knowledge now. I'll put out a spoiler alert anyway. I mean, it's been 17 bloody years. That the character you play as in Knights of the Old Republic has this utterly mind-blowing reveal, in my opinion anyway, that matches the Darth Vader reveal of Empire Strikes Back, that you are in fact Revan. Now, in hindsight, when you look back at it, I think you can, because the way they have the reveal go down, it does show pieces that if you were paying close attention, you may have been able to put it together. I did not. I was completely fucking blown away by this reveal. I thought it was so awesome and yet almost like heartbreaking at the same time, because it's like, no, this is my character. And then on the other hand, it's like, oh, but my character is actually Revan, who, I mean, we haven't seen, but he's in so much of the story. Let's get everyone's, what was your reaction to that reveal? Let's start with Thaden.
I actually have a kind of funny story about this reveal. Just a quick thing. I remember walking around in the mall, talking to Kieran about the game. I think at that point we were both playing it separately, like our own saves. And he kept telling me, like, there's a big surprise, and it was like about who Revan is, I think. And at one point I was like, well, are you Revan? Do you play as Revan? And I was like, no, that's ridiculous. There's no way. And then you know, played the game some more, and you are Revan. And like, I still remember being like, yeah, like, like mind blown. It was so cool. I love that twist a lot. I think I'm up there with you saying like it's as good as Vader revealing that he's Luke's father, because it's like it fits so perfectly, but you don't necessarily see it coming. And then even if you do, it's still like, whoa, like this has a lot of big implications for everything you've done and everything you know about Revan and Malak. It's so cool. I love that.
And by the point of the reveal, like, you've built this team who some of them have become family, others have just become royal pains in your ass. And you know, the second that reveal happens, I know I'm thinking like, oh, well, some characters aren't going to like this. So,
yeah.
And I just love the way that, and I mean, they could have easily not paid that off very well. And I think they do a really good job of paying that off and the decisions that you get to make with your party going forward. And as Johnny and Tommy know, I'm someone that sort of leans towards dark side decisions. So
sort of.
It might have been good to shed some of the dead weight on your party, and so I did. Tommy, man, the reveal of your character being Revan. I know it's a long time ago. Well, actually, you played the second game first. So when you went back and played the first game, had the second game basically already given away that you were Revan? Or is it vague? Because I would think that it's vague enough that you would still be surprised by that.
It was completely vague. And I was still young enough where, and I can't quite remember the year I first played it. That's a project for another time. But I can definitely recall that it was a total surprise for me. I never really equated it with, Luke being Vader's, Vader being Luke's father. But Now that you mention it, yeah, that it would probably be quite similar in, strength and power, if you will. And honestly, considering the fact that I'm a 90s kid and I didn't get that surprise of Vader being Luke's father, it's definitely something you can look at with a little more gratitude, if you know what I mean. The revelation that your character is Revan was just extremely powerful. I mean, never before had we had this opportunity in any other form of Star Wars media, and any other. Really, Knights of the Old Republic is pretty much as good as it gets, in part because you create your character. There are other games which have done similar things in the Star Wars franchise, but they never get as immersive, as deep, as story building as this series does. So the best I can just say, without, I can't surface the memory itself, was that I was definitely surprised, and I was glued to the TV at that point. And I might have finished the game that day, maybe the following day, just because I didn't want to stop.
Yeah, I could believe it. I mean, at that point, you're hooked. Like, you've just gone through where Kareth has you on the cruiser, and you have the encounter with Malak, and just the reveal with Hit. Like, first of all, like, you're like, oh, the game's about to end. I mean, you don't know that it's not about to end. And you get, I mean, the fact that it's Malak that does the reveal too, I think added more to it. It's more personal. You and Johnny now have used the word immersive. And I would say that even to this day, I'm not sure anything has made me ever feel like I was in the Star Wars world or universe more than those games. Like,
the closest game I would say that comes closest is Jedi Knight Academy, and it does not come nearly as close.
I mean, I love Jedi Knight Academy. I think it's great.
Love it.
I think it's the best of the Jedi Knight games.
I've done more playthroughs of JKA than I have Knights of the Old Republic. Either game, maybe both combined.
Think about this for a second. Both of those games came out really close to one another. How fucking good of a year of Star Wars gaming is that? That's badass.
Golden age of Star Wars gaming.
Frank Riker in the chat says, I was totally surprised by the reveal. This game killed my weekends. Yeah, this game killed a lot of weekends. Killed some of my life. I know some people were not happy that I would choose to not come out and play hockey at the time in order to play the game, and it felt like it was in Star Wars, guys. I mean, hey, you could go out and buy all the expensive Star Wars action figures you want, but it was never going to duplicate the feeling that these games gave you. Kieran, what was the reveal like for you, man? I found Thaden's story quite interesting because something similar happened to me when I found out about Vader. What's your end of this, dude?
I don't know if it got spoiled for me or if I figured it out. I'd like to think I was smart enough, but I'm pretty sure that I saw it coming. I remember the dreams and being like, oh yeah. And I don't remember if that is because someone told me ahead of time that, there was a twist or whatever, but I don't remember getting that like, oh my God, it's me. But funny story, this time playing through, I named my character Revan. So it's
already taken care of.
Oh, Revan, what's up with that dude? And it's like, Revan, I'll tell you about Revan.
Oh, that's gold. That's gold.
I don't know why I did it, and then I didn't realize how stupid it was going to be, but now it's really funny. So
I mean, when they do the reveal, they are taking clips of what you've already played in the game and piecing them together. And I remember just being like, once the mask comes off and you see it's you, and it's just like, it's like this out of body experience. At least it was for me when it first happened, because it was like, oh my God, how did I not piece that together? And just, I just was completely blown away by it. Johnny, how about you, man? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Kieran.
they do a really good job of it, because when you're playing and you have Bastila with you, and I think a lot of people carry Bastila with them for a lot of the game because she's awesome and she has a lightsaber, but she never talks to you as if she's met you before, and like you see her in a lot of the scenes, so you would assume like she'd be like, oh yeah, I killed you, or I'm telling everybody I killed you. So like they do a really good job of hiding it, but in the scenes where you see the flashbacks, they're always like you can see the torso and the legs, but you can't see the face and stuff like that. So you can tell they're hiding something.
No, definitely. I mean, Bastila, I'm like hot and cold with, because I found her like, it's almost like, how dare you talk to me like this? I just went through all this shit to save your ass, but then it's like, oh, right, I can use a character with a lightsaber and force powers. Awesome. Never mind, we're cool. No, I get it with her. Johnny, man, level with us, dude. What was it for you? Did you figure out beforehand? Was it spoiled for you? Or did you get that shocking reveal?
I mean, I don't think it was spoiled for me. I don't remember it being spoiled for me. I mean, I think the only one who would have had the knowledge to spoil it for me would have been you.
Oh, boy, here we go.
And you were pretty good after your own experience of, does he know Luke's Vader's son experience? That you were pretty good about not giving spoilers to those that didn't want them. So I don't think you would have spoiled it. I mean, you might have told me that there was a big twist, that something big happens. I can't honestly remember, but I can remember a few moments during the story where, I would jokingly say, to my brother who, would have been around most of the time when I was playing the game or when he was playing the game. We were kind of doing, I don't want to say simultaneous playthroughs, but, at the same time, he'd get a turn, I'd get a turn, brothers sharing a console. I think we all know what that's like. But
sadly.
Yeah. So, I mean, I seem to remember a few times where I'd just be watching the story while he's playing it, because it was different for me watching him play, because then I could focus more on the things people were saying, with just actual pure focus on the words, instead of thinking of how I'm going to respond when you get the choices. So I could actually kind of think about it. I seem to remember a few times making jokes when you're talking about it. I don't even remember if it was before the vision started happening or not. Wouldn't it be hilarious if you're Revan? I remember making jokes like that a few times. And then you come to find out that you are in fact Revan. And I mean, it was still a holy shit. But I can't with 100% certainty remember if it was holy shit, I was right, or holy shit. I think it was a little bit of both, because, wow, I can't believe I was right, and holy shit, I can't believe they did it, because that was so different, Star Wars had never, I mean, at that point, I like to call that the M. Night Shyamalan era, where the big twist was all the rage, right? I see dead people, I'm already dead. The big twist endings were popular in that time period. So you kind of went in with a grain of salt for everything having that sort of big twist ending. And I think I might have made that joke in jest after having watched, that movie. Oh, wouldn't it be hilarious if you were actually Revan? Just from the way people act towards you, There are a few times where you kind of get that, where certain characters would say things to you where it's just like, that doesn't make sense unless, like, looking back, there are quite a few conversations where I can say, wow, that makes so much more sense knowing that I'm Revan. Especially interactions with, like the Jedi Council and, and Malik and his closest advisors. And, I can't remember the Admiral's name. Karth's old boss. I can't remember.
Kareth.
Yes, Admiral Kareth. Hearing him talk about you and the interactions like that. And Bastila's another one where something she says makes so much more sense in the way she kind of, I don't want to say coddles you, but, pushes back against some of your darker inclinations early when you make those choices.
Let me just say that the most of the Jedi Masters on Dantooine are dicks. Dicks!
But I think that's inherent because of the fact that, you're who you are. I think that makes so much more sense. Like, if Anakin Skywalker had lost his memory after going nuts and come to a Jedi Council meeting, they're not going to be friendly.
No, probably not. Frank says in the chat, I was obsessed with crystal changes too. Too bad they had no black crystal, a.k.a. the dark saber. Yeah, that would have been interesting, especially back then. Considering
Probably a mod out there. There's a mod for everything.
All right, guys, before we get to the Death Watch, we're coming to an end of this one. Bit of a shorter episode here. We're running overtime. Before we do, I'm going to pose a question to each one of you guys. So if they were to ever turn Knights of the Old Republic, or some form of it, into Star Wars visual storytelling, meaning say a trilogy of movies or several seasons of a TV show, which do you guys think would be better? What would serve Knights of the Old Republic better? First up, Tommy B, you going movies or TV show?
That's a double-edged sword you put out there. Let me ask you, what do you mean better?
What would be the best way to tell this story?
What do you mean best?
Killing me here, Smalls.
He's just kicking the can down as far as he can, hoping that eventually you'll be like, you know what, forget it, and ask somebody else. I think.
For example, if someone says, "Hey, we're doing a standalone Knights of the Old Republic movie," my response is going to be like, "Yeah, unless that movie's 8 hours fucking long, it ain't going to work." And you know what? Now that I think about it, I don't think you can make a trilogy work properly for Knights of the Old Republic to tell that story properly. So for me, I've always been like, you either need a series of films or a TV show for it. I mean,
so you're telling me you want fan reception to be high. You're not. I guess it's a money thing, but you're looking at something that the fans, particularly of the OG Knights of the Old Republic games, are going to enjoy. They're not going to tear it apart. Is that what you're getting at me?
No, because I mean, look, anything that we get from...
Anything we get is not going to be as good. Let's not even pretend it.
No,
that shit you're gonna sailed along with Kotor 3.
You're going to pick it apart, right? The second they change anything, like, oh, there's no Bastila, there's, I don't know, Sabrina. It's going to be, why is...
The teenage witch!
Why is Bastila named Sabrina walking around with some black friggin', cat? No, I'm asking you, what's the best storytelling method, do you think? Can they tell the Knights of the Old Republic story in 3 movies, or do they need a TV series that spans over 6, 7, 8, 9 seasons?
Didn't you originally ask me?
All right, if you asked another question, I'm moving on to someone else.
I think that's his goal.
Doubling back. So you're telling... I'm definitely erring on the side of a series. And not even live action, to tell you the truth. Animated.
I could deal with that.
The problem with that is you lose, to a certain extent, the immersive element that you get from it being a video game. At the same time, I don't think, we just said it, we're going to ever get that same immersive aspect ever again. So...
Any retelling is going to be a bit different.
If we had to pick something, if we had to pick between some kind of trimmed down video game or a series, maybe they could work with 2 or 3 seasons, I would go for a series.
Video game wasn't an option. But, we'll go with the series. So we'll go 2 for the series. Kieran, where are you, man? You want a trilogy of this shit or a TV series?
I like when things are retold. I know everyone always complains when things are retold. If they make, like Revan, they say like, oh, it happened 500 years ago. And everyone's like, what? It didn't happen 500 years ago. So I don't mind when they redo things. So I would like to see it as a movie series. Because I wouldn't want to get back what I got from the video game. I would want characters and the characters I love to be retold somewhere. And I always like the movies. I like to go to the movies. I like to eat the popcorn, and I like a lot of refills of my drink. So movies are always king for me.
Thaden, I'm going to hand it off to you, but before I do, I got to run upstairs for a second, guys. So, Johnny, once everyone goes around the round table, start the Death Watch.
Okay.
So, I'm actually kind of surprising myself with my answer. I totally, as soon as he asked, I was thinking show, but I think I would want a trilogy, because if it's a trilogy, it is like a 8-hour movie or so. So, you know, they could do that. But also, like, I'd want it to be told with, like, all the time they need and a bigger budget, and, like, I'd want to go see it in the theaters as well. And I think it could be like a grand epic thing where if it was a show, it would probably be calmer, more focused, and it would still be good. I'd be totally happy with either one, but I think I'd probably rather movies. I'd just be happy to get anything, though. Yeah.
All right, I think I'm the only one left who hasn't answered.
I'm really
right?
fighting the urge here to make them to bring up the sequel trilogy, but that's not what the point of the show is. So we're not going to go down that path. We'll save that for another time.
This guy loves the sequel trilogy.
I do.
No, we're not going to do this. Okay, Johnny.
Yeah, we can leave it.
That's a conversation for an entirely different day,
It's
for an
fine.
entirely different show. We'll.
Let's go with what is Johnny like?
I mean, God, it's a tough one to answer because, you know, if you'd have asked me this a year ago, you know, then I think my answer would pretty straight. Oh, it's got to be movies, because, you know, a live action TV series or a TV series like that's not going to work, you know. But then The Mandalorian happened. And if there's anything that it showed me is that now they're capable of a television series that, you know, tells these stories in an epic fashion. And I think a TV series is much better as an option for me now, because the quantity you get would be so much more. You know, and I that's a big part for me is quantity. You know, if you take, you know, an average episode at 45 minutes, you know, multiply that by a minimum 8-episode season, that's, you know, 365 minutes or 360 minutes. I mean, you know, so, you know, that's 6 hours right there, just of content in one season. So I think you could take, you know, a 3-season series and tell this story in, you know, 18 hours, or a 4-season experience and tell it in 24 hours and not leave a lot of content on the floor. You know, that's the big thing is a universe and a game this massive. There would be so much content left on the floor that would not make it good. And the movie series would not be good because they'd have to cut out so much, you know, of the ephemera, that characters that we love would be left behind in ways that we would not enjoy. You know, because you don't have that opportunity to expand on each character's story. Each character has their own story to tell. And if there's one thing the Old Republic does well, is tell each character's story. You know, there's no companion characters, you know, group character who has a story that I find to be inherently boring. There's no character that I can point to and say, well, if they cut out blank story, then it's fine. You know, we're not going to be hurt.
Carth Onassi.
Carth is the second most important character story-wise in your companions. I mean, Bastila, then Carth. You can hate him all you want, but he is important to that story. And I think you hate him because he has a very whiny voice. I mean, even Juhani, like, you know, yes, she'd probably be on the bottom of the, you know, list of characters that, you know, if you're going to cut someone, cut her. But then who's next? You know, then you move on to Jolie Bindo and who's next? Because eventually you're going to be cutting more and more characters, and then it becomes, which characters do you focus on? You know? Bastila's story is extremely important. Karth's story is extremely important. But then where do you leave? Like, do you still get, you know, Mission and Big Z? Their story is pretty good. You know, I know Sage hates Mission with a passion, but you know that story is a good one. You know, and then you move down to like Canderous, and I don't mean move down to because Canderous would be above Mission, but you know, then you start ranking the characters in ways that you're not gonna please everyone, and you're just going to divide people. So if you break it down into a TV series that has, you know, 3 to 4 seasons, 8 episodes per season minimum, at a proper length, you know, proper 45-minute episode streaming on Disney Plus, there's definitely enough meat on the bones, both content-wise and time-wise, that's the only way you can tell that story. You know, because otherwise you're going to be leaving far too much behind.
I think you've convinced me.
Those are good points. Yeah, those are very good points.
Fine, the show.
You know, before The Mandalorian, no chance. The TV series, movies all the way, because they've never done TV right for that. Like, Clone Wars was good, but it, you know, even that didn't work for me. It wouldn't work for that format because it was far too archy. You know, the stories were all short. They were all compact. There was no real, you know,
a bunch of one-offs.
Exactly. You know, it wasn't an overarching story other than these are the things that happened during the Clone Wars, and it's not even in order. You know, you've got episodes in like season 3 that chronologically happened before episode 1.
The finale of season 3 of season 1 happens during season 3.
Exactly. So I mean, it's like you can't watch that show in order chronologically and have it all make sense, because it doesn't. It can't. You know, it doesn't make sense that way. But now in a post-Mandalorian world, there's absolutely room for a TV series that you tell the Knights of the Old Republic story, and that's where my money is. You know, I know I went for a good long bit there on this topic, but it's that important to me, you know, as a fan, that I don't think you can do it right in a movie series, not anymore. You know, I guess I can say I don't trust the people at the helm to do this movie series. I don't trust them. That's my problem. You know, and that comes from the way they've completely mishandled the sequel trilogy to me as a fan. You know, I know there are those that love it and enjoy it and think it's the best series since sliced bread. So
I understand not liking it as well. Don't worry.
You know, but I mean, it was mismatched and mangled, and A to B to Z did not tell a good story, while still telling good stories, I guess, is kind of the best way for me to describe it. Like, they're great individually, but as a whole, they stink. And that's what you want for a trilogy. You need to tell a continuous story.
Yeah. It might be easier to do with the show, too, because you have so much more time.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think one of the things that makes The Mandalorian good, though, is it feels like it always takes place in a town where there's not a lot of people, there's not a lot of things. Like, it doesn't seem very full. And I think if you did do you'd have to have a higher budget for a show about.
I mean, yes and no, because like the universes are, you know, the worlds are populated, but if you look at, you know, the actual game, you don't see them. You don't see the population. Like, we know that Terrace is a huge planet, but how many people do you actually see while you're playing the game? That's
true. There's
maybe a dozen people
when you're in
the upper city. Exactly. You know, I think the most people you encounter in a confined space is in the Undercity, in the, you know, in the Enclave just outside of the Rakghoul area. You know, I think that's the most confined source of people on that planet. Yeah. So, you know, it's not like you need lots and lots of extras, lots and lots of people to make it work. But I think I've gone long enough here on this. I think I've converted a few of you guys, so I'd say mission accomplished. I'm happy.
You did a good job.
I'm glad you've joined my side and my team. And with that, I actually went long enough that saved.
Yeah, and here is Sean, just in time for the Death Watch.
I won Death Watch.
Play the Death Watch soundbite.
Oh, I got you.
I went long enough that I was going the entire time you were gone.
I was upstairs. I was just like, I said to Jade, I'm like, "Are you watching?" She was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "What's going on?" And she's like, Johnny's on a rant. I'm like, oh, okay. He must be buying time.
Not really, yet at the same time I was. Side benefit. I converted a few people to the idea of a television series.
Oh. Were you guys movies?
Me and Kieran said movies, and then I think he kind of changed both of us to TV.
I just don't know if there's enough time in a trilogy to do it properly. Anyways,
that was the gist of my stance.
He summed it up really well.
Hey, if they said,
I pretty much said, an 8-episode season at 45 minutes per episode is 6 hours.
Well, that would require Disney Plus committing to 45 minutes per episode.
I'm saying, even if you cut that down, it's still,
I'll say this: if someone came forward and said, "Hey, we're doing the Knights of the Old Republic in a movie series," and not necessarily the size of the MCU, but we're going to tell the story over connective movies, and this is what our next 10 Star Wars movies are going to be over the next 10 years. I'd buy that. You could sell me on that. I think that'd be badass. I don't think there's a chance.
But I think that's too big.
That's like a show of movies.
Yeah, I think that's too expansive. But if they did it, then I'd be all for it. But I don't see it happening.
It could include like the Mandalorian Wars and the Sith Wars.
Oh my God, the Mandalorian Wars.
My God,
fucking A.
Yeah, that's cool.
Without further ado, though, it's time for the Death Watch.
I claim this sword, and my rightful place as leader of Death Watch.
All right, this is our little mini trivia game that we like to call the Death Watch. It's not who will win, but rather who will survive the Death Watch. The co-hosts of the Rogue Sons of Star Wars podcast are being pit against one another tonight, and only one of them will survive because we do have a tie-breaking question. And if not, then I'll come up with stuff off the top of my head so there's no tie because ties suck. So the way this works is, Johnny, did you do 3 or 4?
I did 4.
And Tommy, you did 3. Okay, so Johnny,
correct.
Pick one to be the overtime question.
Already done.
All right. Now, Kieran, I know you know Johnny, just like I do. I'm sorry that you have to suffer with him for 17 weeks through a football pool. I understand that you came into said football pool and won the year after I won. So that
no, you're forgetting. I was in between.
Oh, you were in between. Oh, well, that's a shame.
Almost. I'll say it again. I should be a 2-time champ. Fuck the Arizona Cardinals, playing like fucking 85 Bears in the final week of the season, shutting down Russell Wilson and costing me the championship by 3 fucking points in what should have been a 15-point victory. Fuck the Arizona Cardinals and John Chan, if you're watching, fuck you too for liking them.
Oh my God.
There's some hate there.
So, Kieran, whose questions do you want? Do you want Johnny's questions or do you want Tommy's questions? Hey, hang on. Sorry, 1 second. Guys, is it confirmed that all 7 questions are, in fact, in the category that I asked for?
Yes.
All right, so I'll give you guys this hint. All questions tonight have to do with Star Wars deaths. That's why it's called the Death Watch. That take place in Star Wars games. So all 7 are coming from Star Wars games, and we've never done that before. So, man, I wish I was in on this, but alrighty, let's pit you 2 up against one another. Kieran, whose questions do you want?
I'll take Johnny's questions.
Which means, Thaden, you get Thomas's, and would you like to go first or second?
I'll go second.
All right, so Kieran's going to be up first. This is how this works. Johnny's going to say the question, and you are literally only going to get 15 seconds to answer. When the horn goes off, you are out of time. You have had to say the answer by that time. You are allowed to ask for 1 repeat, meaning if you didn't understand the question or you need to buy yourself 5 extra seconds for the repeat, Johnny can repeat the question. Everyone understand the rules?
Yep.
All righty. Yes. Johnny, feed him his first question.
Oh, man. Okay. I think I might have actually written this down wrong. Oh, dear.
man, you know what? Just for that.
Is that right? Oh dear.
Or.
Yeah, I womp that one. That's a little bit oops.
So why don't you move to one of the other questions as the first question?
Well, I'm trying to get to the answer at the same time as I do this. So we'll move to number 2. While I scroll at the same time. Okay. They stood both beside you and against you. They teach you enough to defeat them, and they once fell victim to their own apprentices.
Is that the end of the question?
3 clues.
All right, time starts now.
They fell to their own apprentices. Revan and Malik?
That is incorrect.
That was just the only pair I could think of.
I don't feel like I'm going to do too well.
What?
They is singular.
Can you repeat that question? That was pretty vague, but I mean, I know that's
They
how.
stood both beside you and against you. They teach you enough to defeat them. They once fell victim to their own apprentices.
So you're looking for 2 answers on one question?
No, it's one. It's singular. I know they is
like
confusing. They because I
he or
didn't want to give a gender pronoun.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. It's too many hints. That's an extra hint.
I mean, I'm not in this, but I got nothing. I mean, I would have said the Sith.
Really? I do.
Who you got, Tommy?
I got
Well, I mean, I guess you have the answer.
You have the.
Know who it is.
You gave me the answer?
I did. I don't know if you actually looked at them or not, but I did send it.
I might have glanced. Was it Kreia?
It was. It was Kreia.
Oh,
They stood beside you.
As you were saying it, I was thinking of Scion and Nihilus, and I was like, something to do with them. Don't know what though.
Well, that's true. They beat their own master.
Yeah, man, that's horrible. We were just talking about it too. Fuck.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have even gotten that. All right.
On Kotor.
Now on to Thaden's first question, Tommy.
All right. See how this goes.
Okay. I was featured in the story of Star Wars Battlefront 2.
The new one?
EA.
Which one?
EA.
Okay.
I had a daughter who followed in my footsteps, and I died after taking down my longtime enemy and former ally, Gideon Hask. Who am I?
Iden Versio.
Wow, I'm actually surprised you got the name. I was really going for the fact that you wouldn't be able to pull the name out.
No, I knew as you were saying.
Oh, that was a bit of a softball.
Yes.
Yeah, as soon as you said Gideon's name, that gave it right up. I would have just left that name blank because
I thought about it. I really thought about it, but
when
I said, you know what? This is one of those names that once you beat the game, you're never going to remember anymore. But I guess I was wrong. Yeah,
I remember it.
Awesome.
Love Iden Versio.
Well, that's not true.
All right, question number 2 for Kieran, who's down 1-0 at this point.
Okay. I've now confirmed that this answer is correct, and I wrote it correctly the first time. I just didn't trust myself, so maybe I should have. Okay. I was killed by my master's master. My death was not the end of my story. My story began on the forests of Kashyyyk.
Can I repeat that one?
I was killed by my master's master. My death was not the end of my story. My story began in the forests of Kashyyyk.
This isn't a giveaway, but I'm just going to say fan-fucking-tastic game.
Is it
5 seconds.
I don't know. The Kashyyyk one, the Kashyyyk part kills me.
Do you want to repeat? Oh, did he already use the repeat? I can't remember if he did.
No, I used it. I used it. Go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead. The Kashyyyk.
Time's up. The answer is 1, Galen Merrick, a.k.a. Starkiller. I love that.
I was going to guess that, but I don't remember Kashyyyk at all being in that game.
That was the giveaway for me, actually.
You play as Darth Vader. It's amazing.
Don't you start in Felucia?
No, you start on Kashyyyk as Vader, just tossing Wookiees around left and right. It's fucking awesome.
Kieran probably repressed that memory because he likes Wookiees.
It ends with you fighting his father and
I was killed by my master's master, Sidious, master of Vader. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Death, not the end of his story. The Force Unleashed 2 is his clone.
Yeah, another game that was cut drastically short.
Yeah.
I actually was going to say that. I would have just said Starkiller, though. I don't know if that...
that would have been...
I would have given
for sure.
I would have given you Starkiller.
All right, question number 2 for Thaden. He can actually win this thing right here. Tommy, what's up?
I was a Jedi apprentice, but eventually fell to the dark side. I would serve as an Imperial Inquisitor. I would be killed by my Sith or dark side master. Who am I?
Do I get one guess?
Yeah, you only get one guess. You can ask for a repeat, though.
I don't remember the name of the characters specifically, but Second Sister?
I'll take Second Sister.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Trilla Sudari. I don't even know when they give that last name, but Trilla.
Yeah, that one.
Is this the character that's in Fallen Order?
Correct.
I'm gonna go to Johnny on this one. I mean, I like Thaden and Kieran so far, but I think we're gonna have to ask is that a good enough answer? I mean, I get why Starkiller would have been good because that's actually his code name throughout the game. Is that what her code name is throughout the game, Second Sister?
That's her Inquisitor name, but
there's only one Second Sister, only one.
For me, that's a title, not a name. But that's me. I mean,
there's only one Second Sister. The Inquisitors all have unique titles. Unique,
Would the Grand Inquisitor count as a name?
I would say yes, because I don't think we even get the Grand Inquisitor's name, if I recall correctly.
Yeah,
I was going to say, on that note, I think you kind of have to give it to him then. That's valid.
In fact, if you go on the Wikipedia page, you will find Second Sister, I'm paraphrasing, formerly known as Trilla. So I guess there's kind of like a renunciant aspect of that there. They give up that name and just take on their...
For me, it's a pickle. Like, it's the same as, if I ask you a question about Finn, if you answered FN2187, is that really the answer? Technically, yes, but I don't know.
I'm going to waive my grievance. I think if you're going to give it to the Grand Inquisitor, you got to give it to the Second Sister.
Well, I think that one actually is his name. We don't know any other name for him.
That's not his name. Let's be real here.
No, but I'm saying that's the only name we know him by.
Well, we're going to give Thaden the win, but we're going to play out the rest of the questions if you guys are okay with that.
Yes.
All right. So, Johnny, what do you have for Kieran? Question number 3.
All right, Kieran, question number 3. He was bombarded along with the rest of the planet. He led a gang in the underworld, and he helped rescue your future wife.
Damn, I was like, good. Repeat the question.
He was bombarded along with the rest of the planet. He led a gang in the underworld. He helped rescue your future wife.
Man, this could be a few different people.
I was thinking Knights of the Old Republic with bombarded and gang, but future wife. Who gets married?
Just so we're clear, you're looking for someone who died during the bombardment, right? Since it is the Death Watch?
He was bombarded along with the rest of the planet. He was there when it was bombarded.
And he led a gang. Davik King?
No. He wasn't bombarded with the planet.
Davik was.
Was it?
Davik bombarded with the planet?
But he didn't help you rescue Bastila. I know who you're thinking of here. This is dirty.
Is it? Is it really?
This is really dirty.
This is the name I was talking about earlier, Sean.
Yeah, this is the name Tommy gave
I
me
didn't
crap.
know who it was. I had to go and look it up. Mm-hmm.
Well, who else owns a gang? There's Brejik,
There's the Hidden Becks.
the Hidden Back,
I don't
and
remember the name.
Black Vulkers is... No, Brejik is the leader of the Vulkers.
Correct.
And the leader of the Hidden Becks is... Is it Gadden or Gaiden or something
Oh,
like that?
I know. I remember the name.
Yeah.
It is. It's Gadden
Gadden
Feck.
Feck.
Yeah.
Gadden. Was that
Gadden
the...
Feck in the Hidden
He's
Becks.
the blind guy.
Okay, yeah.
He was bombarded with the rest of the planet. He led the Hidden Becks, and he helped you rescue Bastila, who is Revan's future wife.
Oh, okay, see, I didn't know that last part. That's the problem.
I mean, it
They get
depends
married?
what part of the story you choose, because in some aspects, Gadden might not help you rescue Bastila. You might go with the other gang, because you have the option. You don't have to align yourself with the Hidden Becks. You can turn on them. I mean, who would have thunk of turning
I
on
didn't know they get married. I don't remember that.
Bastila and Revan? Yeah, they do.
I think it's after.
Yeah, it's after.
They mention it in the Revan book.
Is it in the book? I haven't read the book.
Oh,
It's definitely mentioned in the
man.
book, and
I think you've read it like a long time ago.
If you
I can't
haven't,
wait to look back at the video and see my face, because the first and second question I was like, eh? And then the third question I was like,
if you haven't read the Revan book yet, and in my opinion, I always point people towards Mark Thompson's audiobook. It's like watching a movie with your eyes closed, has the sound effects, usually has different actors, has the music that plays in it. It's so good. It's like 12 hours long. The Revan book is basically, for all intensive purposes, Knights of the Old Republic 3.
Yeah.
So,
and it's also like a prequel sort of to
Yep.
the Old Republic, which
Yep.
is sort of sequel to Knights of the Old Republic.
I wouldn't say sort of. I would say it's directly a sequel. It's
I only say sort of because it's 300 years
right.
later. But like, yeah, they carried a lot of story elements directly into
Well,
it.
it's directly continuing of that canon, right? So that's why I say
Yeah.
sequel, because I
Yeah.
mean you have characters from. I mean,
That's
obviously
true.
Revan's a
It's
big
not just
part of it, and
It's
not immediate,
so
but-
good though, like the story, because
I love
really
that.
you're getting sort of in that you're getting what happens in between Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, and you're getting what happens after Knights of the Old Republic 2. It's really fucking good.
Such a good book. I'm gonna read it
Really
again
is.
soon. I'm so excited.
Oh, I love it. One of my faves. I believe we're on to Thaden's last question.
be
Tom.
Thaden's last question from Tommy.
See if I can go 3 for 3.
It's going to be an easy one.
All right.
I was the leader of a dark side cult. I gotta change that.
That did not give it away for me.
No, because it's basically a replication of the first one, the first clue. I seduced a student of Kyle Katarn's to the dark side. Kind of.
You need to
I
repeat
would
that
be-
all in one
I
sentence
would
for him.
be
It's way too
killed
broken up.
by another student of Kyle Katarn. Also, sort of, I guess. Who am I?
Yeah, no idea. I never played those games.
Really?
Or not
Oh, I
really.
guess
I
it's
played
not
them a
easy.
bit, but not the story.
Gotta play them. You gotta play them. Fan-freaking-tastic games.
Jedi Academy is I don't know so much about Outcast, but
I've played Jedi Outcast. It doesn't play as easily as well as Jedi Academy, but it's good. Dark Forces 2, Jedi Knight is also great. Dark Forces, the OG game, is also good. Anyway, Sean,
repeat
what
that.
is it?
No, repeat that question, man, because you started and then you stopped and then you finished.
Okay.
I think he
I was the
deserves a
leader of
chance
a
to hear
dark
the whole
side
thing.
That's what it
cult.
was.
I was the leader of a dark side cult. I would seduce a student of Kyle Katarn's to the dark side, and I kind of said sort of. And I would be killed by another. I guess we'll change it. I died in the aftermath of a battle with another student of Kyle Katarn. Who am I? You know the answer to this, Sean. I know you do.
I mean, I know the person you're talking about, but
You don't know the name
I'm
then.
having a hell of a time with the name.
Johnny?
Other than it
Well,
ends
I know
with
it
like
'cause you sent it to me.
it ends with like Eon, Savion, or Ravion, or something like
No.
that.
Tavion.
All right, so let's wrap things up here. We have
wanna
one
throw up the
question.
tiebreaker?
Yeah, we have one question left. Well, I mean, there's no tiebreaker needed. I'm going to throw my hat into this, and we're going to have all three of us go at this last question. So the way this is going to work is if you guys have access to your computer, we're all in the Skype chat, right?
Yes.
So the first person to successfully enter the answer in the Skype chat will win
It makes
this
just
round.
as much sense to say it out loud.
Well, no, because then you run into, if we both go to say something at the same time out loud, you're not necessarily going to know who said it first.
I'm on my phone, so I can't type.
Oh, right. All right, we'll just say it out loud then. I'm going to remove myself from it. Just let those two go, and we'll let them say it out loud.
All right, last one. Although their death is confirmed, it's never seen in any media. A descendant would one day lead the Jedi Council. They appear many years after death as part of a Jedi holocron.
Really?
Really?
This is softer than mashed potatoes, man.
Apparently not.
I don't.
Might be for
It all
Jedi.
depends on like.
Repeat that.
We all know how many times you can play that game and never come across what you're talking about, though.
Yeah, and no.
Repeat the question for them.
Although their death is confirmed, it's never seen in any media. A descendant would one day lead the Jedi Council. They appear many years after death as part of a Jedi holocron.
Oh.
I think I know the answer to this.
Well, I hope you
Well.
do. I said it to you.
Wow.
I'm
I
going
didn't
to
look.
just guess Bastila?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Well, there you have it. The survivor of the Death Watch is Thaden. Guys, that's going to do it for episode number 9 of the Star Wars Renegades podcast. We haven't been doing this consistently, and only hearing episode 9 after doing, I think it was north of 200 episodes of Star Wars Wastelands over 5 years, it feels like a snail pace as we're moving up in this thing again. First off, Thaden and Kieran, thanks for doing this tonight, guys. We'll talk a little bit off air how we can do this Knights of the Old Republic Revisited series, but it was a pleasure to meet both of you guys for the first time. At least it was for me anyway. And you guys are both well-spoken, great dudes. Where can everybody find you at?
Our podcast. Oh, Kieran, you go ahead and link stuff.
We have Rogue Sons Podcast Instagram. We have Rogue Sons Star Wars Podcast Facebook page. We're on Spotify. We're on Anchor. I think we're on Apple Podcasts now too. And we also have a Rogue Sons Podcast at gmail.com email for anybody who wants any information.
Facebook is it's the most. That's where the most of our stuff is.
Yeah, the Facebook group is the most responsive.
Yeah.
What do you guys got coming on your next episode?
We talk about we talk about our favorite characters we would like brought into canon. Thaden talks about Darth Sion, and I talk about Koran Horn.
Horn.
We do a couple of fun
We played a
games.
couple games, yeah.
Nice.
We do a game where Thaden has to guess whether it's a famous quote from a Jedi or whether it's a famous quote from human history.
That's awesome. I like that. That's
it was
good.
very fun. I enjoyed it.
That's
I
good.
know it or not. We do a good and bad ideas, which are really quick ideas off the top of our head.
Well, that'd be
And we
too
say
easy
whether
for
they're
us.
bad.
Just anything that
And
comes
we
with
do
it.
a draft. So, we like drafting fantasy sports. We draft just random teams of Star Wars characters.
Now, do these teams fight against one another in a battle to the death? Like, is that the goal?
We basically pick a topic. So we did a trench run team, and we each had a trench run team, and it was basically, who do you think would do a better trench run? They're not against each other, but they're competing to do the same goal, and you think who would do it better.
That's fucking awesome. In terms of the good idea or bad idea thing, that'd be a little too easy here on this show because Johnny be the one with all the bad ideas and his prequel hate. And
I turned half this panel forward on my good idea. Thank you. I also had Ben Hart eating out of the palm of my hand for an idea I had for Rise of Skywalker. I think I'm pretty good for good ideas occasionally.
Yeah, very, very rarely, I would say. Johnny, where can everybody find you, man?
Oh, man, you can find me here on this show on our Fandom Empire channel doing any number of things. And you can find me on Twitter at Fandom_McMahon that I one day might actually start using.
Tommy B, how about you, man? Where you at?
I'm usually hanging around the back end of a lot of our pages or in our groups, Future Star Wars, Fandom Empire Den, and others. If you want to catch me on other platforms, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at TommyB1650.
Good stuff, good stuff. Again, if you haven't yet, if you're listening to this on Anchor, Spotify, Stitcher, whatever, carrier pigeon, phone cup, telephone, you can also check out our YouTube channel, Fandom Empire. Hit the subscribe button if you want to stay up to date on all of our content, covering anything from Supernatural to Star Wars, Halloween, horror, DC, Marvel, and all that much more. For Kieran Thaden, the Rogue Sons, the Star Wars Podcast, and Tommy B and Johnny, I'm Sean. We'll see you next time. The Sith are still better than the Jedi. Good night.
Yeah!